Everyone, and a warm welcome to Faces of Pandemic Frontlines. I'm Nancy Stember, co-chair of the Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists. We are so pleased that you are joining us today in our first ever online exhibition. The Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists, also known as CSOPA, was founded in 2002. Since that time, CSOPA has presented live exhibitions, workshops, symposia, and all things related to portraiture. Many of our members and faculty advisors have been commissioned to paint or sculpt portraits of adults, children, professional men and women, CEOs, and politicians, including United States presidents and leaders of other countries around the world. Today's reception features portraits of our extraordinary and heroic citizens who are fighting the world's most menacing enemy, the coronavirus pandemic. Our heroes put their lives on the line every day to protect all of us, and as artists, we want to honor them in our own way with original portrait paintings and drawings. CSOPA President and Founder, Janine Jackson, will introduce each one. Enjoy the show.
Nancy, thank you so much. My right arm and co-founder of this amazing organization, the Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists. Welcome again, everyone. And I want to let you know that we have two co-pilots to this event who will guide us technically and field questions and make sure everyone is a part of tonight's reception. I even have my glass of wine here, so feel free to pretend we're in a gallery, and we welcome you all. So I want to turn this over first to Julia Ambrose Murphy, who's one of our artists, and she's running the screen share and other things. So Julia, would you like to share with people a little bit about how to best participate today?
Absolutely. First of all, welcome, and it's wonderful to see everyone here. We just have a couple of things to sort of ensure that everything moves smoothly. And first of all, everyone will be muted upon joining. The artists, heroes, and guests may unmute themselves when called on to speak for presentations and questions. However, you want to stay muted the rest of the time to keep down the noise. Please use speaker view instead of gallery view to better see the artwork and presenters. Questions from guests are encouraged. Please type your questions in the chat window, and our lovely moderator, Colleen Haynes, CSOPA Membership Director, will periodically present your questions to the speakers. And Colleen, are you there? Say hello. Introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. If everybody wants to just try the chat feature, if you've never used Zoom before, because you can ask questions through that, try it out. Maybe just hit a chat and say hi to me, and I'll be fielding the questions, or if you want to raise your hand and ask a question. So Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Colleen.
Okay.
Yeah, you can also ask questions by voice using the raise hand feature next to your name under participants. And then when the moderator calls on you, you can unmute yourself to ask the question. And then just please bear with us. This is our first event of this type. And we just want to include everyone. If we accidentally miss you for some reason, you know, feel free to speak up, because we want to include everybody in this wonderful event.
Thank you so much, Julia and Colleen. And now, Julia, if you would please present our gallery page.
Absolutely.
We're going to begin with our first portrait. And while she's getting that ready for you all, I want you to know that this first portrait is of Colleen Conklin Burkhart, a very dear friend of mine who inspired this entire event. And Carrie is with us today. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
Okay, honey, I'm going to tell a little bit about what inspired me to paint this, and if Julia would expand the image, please. Then I'm going to ask you if you have any feelings about how this whole experience has impacted you. But first, I want to say, oh my gosh, how proud I am of you. I'm ready to cry, actually. I am crying. This young lady, I have to tell you all, I have known her since she's 9 years old. She has pulled herself up and through school. She got herself educated. She has 2 magnificent daughters and is a single working mom working through this pandemic. She was featured in a Passaic newspaper and on the gallery page, which is available through csopa.org, and you go to our event, there's the gallery link. Her whole story is there, and there's a link to this interview and story in this newspaper that is so amazing, that after she had COVID, she had to self-isolate from her beautiful girls, and afterwards she shared that her first thought was to get back to her colleagues, to get back in there and keep helping and share her antibodies if that would help. She's just an extraordinary human being who I love with all my heart. Carrie, I turn it to you. Do you have anything you want to say about this experience and what it has meant to you?
I love you too. I can't believe it. Since I was 9, I was actually having a conversation today with my girlfriend about how long we've known each other. So wow. And I'm 35. I'm 35 now, for the record. So clearly it's been a while. Thank you so much. This is incredible. I think everyone I know that I love, that knows you as well, has seen this painting, and they can't believe it. It's kind of like, it's kind of a surreal thing to have someone feature you on the news for something that you are doing as your job. There's a lot of people. I've been stopped in supermarkets when I'm still in my scrubs, and it sounds like my hospital name. Sometimes I forget to take off my name tag. Other times I will be quite blunt. I don't, because they have children. But people stop and they thank you. Why are you thanking me? Like, this is my job, and it's people have worked through the AIDS pandemic, the H1N1, and all different types of pandemics throughout, obviously, time. And I think that it's just, people need to realize that, that yes, I guess you can call us heroes, but at the end of the day, the majority of us aren't really looking for any type of credit, I suppose. I got up and I did my job, and the entire time when I was sick, besides missing my daughter so much, that's the longest I've ever been away from who are 10 and 4. They're my entire world. Was I have to go back to work. There's short staff. There are nurses quitting. There are nurses getting sick. There were nurses that died and up and left, retired. And I'm like, I need to get back there. Like, this is my family.
So Carrie,
so yeah,
let me just add and conclude here that you're the reason we're doing this event, because I think you share a lot in common with all the heroes we're honoring today, who don't look for honors. They don't look for accolades. And part of our job is, as artists, is to celebrate the people who inspire us. So thank you, Carrie. And I'm thrilled. So you're going to be getting this portrait, as all the artists are. All the artists are donating their portraits to their heroes. After the exhibition, we have a storefront exhibition coming up at the starting June 19 in Stamford. So after that's done, you will receive this as my gift to you, representing the gratitude that all of us have for what you're doing. Thank you so much, sweetheart. And Julia, we'll go to the next. We'll go back to the gallery.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sweetheart. Okay, is Shauna Lee Kwasniak here?
I am.
All right, sweetheart. By the way, all you artists, could you go back to the
Absolutely.
gallery, please? All the artists, when you hear your name, please unmute yourself. Don't forget, otherwise we won't.
Sorry.
And I just want, no, you're good, Shauna Lee. And I just wanted to say how excited we are to have you here, and this magnificent drawing of Joe DeNova. Is he also with us?
He is. He is.
Okay, so Joe, unmute yourself. And Shauna Lee, why don't you explain a little bit about what inspired you to draw this? And Julia, if you would please expand the image.
Sure. Well, I'm Shauna Lee Kwasniak, and I'm a portrait artist living in Middlebury, Connecticut. And inspiration is a really interesting thing. And I have to bring it back for a moment to when I was a child growing up. And at that time, all groceries came in a brown paper bag. And it was just, it's something as an artist, even as a child artist, I noticed it. And then when this past March, when the shutdown happened due to the virus, and it suddenly became really apparent, oh dear, everything shut down. We need groceries for the next couple of weeks. And at that time, Joe's stores also closed. But then I also noticed when he opened his store back up, like really fast. And that was a godsend, because who wants to go to Costco when there's a virus out there? But that being said, I noticed when he opened, and when, and I started going to, doing my shopping there, and Joe kept all of his employees on staff. He kept everyone safe by keeping the public out. Customers had to email their orders in for either pickup or delivery. And during pickup, people had to stay in their cars and pay over the phone. And I noticed that Joe was putting himself out in the front line by carrying groceries out to the car, out of his store. And it just occurred to me that that was something that grocers used to do years ago, or at least I think they did. And as an artist, the whole sight of how things changed really, really got to me. And I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. So then my daughter and I started collecting photographs of everything that we had noticed that had changed. And then at that moment, I saw Joe walking out of the store with the grocery bags. And it's like, that's it. I'm doing it. And Joe can probably tell you where we were snapping away, sniper shotting him. And is it, Joe, can you hold the bags up? I got to take your picture.
So, Mr. DeNova, welcome. Can you share with us what this experience has been like for you?
Well, it was pretty amazing. We on March 21st, we decided to close the store to the public for protection of my family. It's a family business. We've been in business since 1941. Wow. And when I heard entire families getting sick down in New Jersey, I said, that's it. Let's just close it. We'll make sure everybody stays safe. And so we were closed for 9 weeks.
Long before you were all mandated to.
Well, we were never mandated because we're essential business. Okay, so we could have stayed open. We could have done the arrows and the have people wait outside and taking their temperature. We just felt that really wasn't going to do a lot for anybody. Okay, we felt the best way to do it was all the people who work for me. We're a pretty tight group. We've been together, some people 20 years they've been working for me. So we decided, let's just shut down to the public. Don't let them in. We'll bring the groceries out to them. So that's what we started doing. And so we did it for like 9 weeks. And I'll tell you what, at the end of the 9 weeks, we were shot. It was something. It's amazing how people actually supported us, which we liked, okay, because it kept me busy and it kept my employees busy, and nobody had to go on unemployment or anything. And
God bless you.
It's amazing. You get to really know your customers. I mean, you start knowing all their names again. And years ago, when my grandfather had the store, I would know everybody's name. And of course, it was always easy to remember people's names because all you remember was the last name. So it was Mr. and Mrs. So you only have to learn one name per family. And it's funny, you have people emailing things in or calling in to have take an order from them, and they're telling, it's Mrs. So-and-so. It's like, oh, hi, how are you? And then, you do the order, and then, I'd stay down in front because I didn't really want the kids. I want my employees doing a lot initially taking the groceries out because I was afraid too much interaction. So I felt I took it upon myself, and I got to know all my customers again. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Wow. Thank you so much for
we're back open again, though. We're open, and I'll tell you what, people like the woman before me said, this is what we do, and people come in the store and they say, oh, thank you very much. It's like, it's what I do. I mean, this is what we do.
Well, this is why we're doing what we're doing, because without us, you might not have shown a spotlight on yourself, and we wanted to say thank you. So, Shonali, thank you for being inspired by Joe DeNova.
And thank you, Joe, for saving the town for groceries.
Awesome. Bravo.
Okay.
Julia, please, could you return us to the gallery?
Yes.
Okay.
Is Cynthia Gillette with us?
No.
Is Earl Gillette with us?
And Earl is with me. My husband's, we're together.
Okay, great.
Come around. I want to say hi, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity and for coming online today.
Julia, would you expand the image? Cynthia, I have to say how grateful I am for this magnificent watercolor of this fireman who happens to be your husband. It was selected by the Art Renewal Center for their newsletter, and I can see why. It's a very powerful painting. Could you tell us a little bit about this painting, about yourself and this painting?
Sure.
And what inspired you to create it?
Well, having access to a fireman easily to photograph, who they get calls constantly, day and night. And I had wanted to do a portrait of my husband. I've never done one before. And he's pretty shy and humble. So it was difficult kind of to get him to stay still for a moment. He's always moving and working. But I wanted to show how tired they get from long calls, when they're up at night, when they leave holiday dinners to go out. And that's including this pandemic, where they're all taking extra precautions on the line. And it was just that image of them being just worn out, as I see in all towns, firemen, and wanted to convey that in their gear, which is so heavy too. And then I didn't put the mask on him as the nurses and doctors wear, just because I wanted to see his face more.
Sure.
And,
well, we can see it's there. Earl, are you available? Unmute yourself, please, and share with us a little bit about what this experience has meant to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Good job.
Okay, great. No, this has just been another thing to deal with. I think we've all of us in the emergency services, doctors, nurses, EMS, fire, just another thing to deal with. Like I said, we just adapt and press on, and just we get some protocols from the CDC and guidance, whatnot, and that's just keep doing our job. It's nothing more than that as far as I'm concerned.
We have a recurring theme here with our heroes who don't put that label on themselves, but that's what we're here to do today, to thank you for all you're doing. It happens to be extraordinary, whether you think of it that way or not. It is, and we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
sure, you're welcome.
We're so proud of all of them, and yeah, I'm proud of him all the time.
Good job. Good job. Could we go back to the gallery, please? Okay. Nancy Stember, I know you're here with us. Nancy is our co-founder and co-chair of the Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists, and she chose to paint Dr. Stahl, who is her son-in-law. Could you enlarge the image, please, Julia? And Nancy, would you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create this painting?
Well, I have always wanted to paint people. I originally started my painting career as in contemporary art, with painting large abstract expressionist canvases with acrylic paint. But several years ago, I decided to focus entirely on studying the old masters and the techniques of realism and portraiture. Now, this is a little peculiar, but when the subject for this exhibition was suggested, I had mixed feelings. All of my children are doctors in New York City, and my constant thoughts were about their safety. On one hand, I didn't want to objectify any frontliner as a thing to use as a prop. On the other hand, showing them as one of us, their unique physical characteristics and personalities would honor them eternally. The painting shown here is from a candid cell phone photo of my son-in-law, who is an attending surgeon at Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center. His eyes show the seriousness and determination of his mission. But knowing and loving Peter as I do, I also see the twinkle in his eyes, saying that we will win this battle. The painting is oil on linen and is meant to show the fast pace of healers in the frenetic hospital environment. So now I would like to introduce my son-in-law, Peter. And
Dr. Stahl, what has this experience been like for you?
Hi, everyone. First, I just want to say that I feel honored and grateful, not objectified at all, Nancy. It's been emotional and I would say, pretty scary at times. I happen to be, I'm a urologist, and I'm at Columbia Presbyterian, as Nancy mentioned, which is really in the heart of Upper Manhattan. And just because of demographics and geography, our system turned out to be among the busiest systems in the busiest city in the world for coronavirus. So truly at the very, very center of this. And contemporaneously, first we learned, that we just got shut down, right? Everything elective that I do on a day-to-day basis that wasn't emergent stopped. The surgeries that I perform that are in emergencies, which is the majority of what I do, were all start. So for a while there was quiet and trying to sort out how to be helpful and how to be productive. Then as things worsened, my partners and I got redeployed to do things like staff the emergency room, sort of refreshing our ICU care from when we were trainees. And then it got really scary at Columbia for a while. I wasn't in the emergency room or in the ICU. And this picture was taken, or this painting is from a photo that was taken before an emergency surgery. This was at the very, very peak of the epidemic though. So this was a urological operation on a COVID positive patient who had a severe infection that
Holy cow.
needed to be, surgically drained really. So, and those are the only types of operations that were happening. We have about 30 operating rooms at my hospital, and 25 of them had been converted into ICUs. So, this was at a time when really the only thing that was happening was really truly emergent care. And at the same time that this was happening, one of my very closest friends, who has 4 boys just like I do, was hospitalized with COVID and very close to being intubated. So it was a very frightening time in general, but I was proud to be able to go in there and to help. And I think as surgeons, we sort of had it a little bit easier than, the nurses and the medical assistants and the people who are minute to minute with patients day to day. Those are the people to whom I'm really amazed, incredibly grateful, and very, very amazed by their dedication and compassion and their sort of idea that this is just work, which it is, and I feel that too, but it's not just work, it's very serious work that is at great personal risk. And I think all of us in healthcare know people that have gotten sick, people who died. So that was kind of my experience.
Thank you so much. I'm sure I speak for everyone here in awe of all that you do in a day. I have to come back to the artist who captured everything you said in this painting, and I'm so grateful to you and to Nancy Stember for creating this. It just captures everything you talked about that's going on, and thank you so much. We're so grateful. Oh, wow. Okay, Christine McBrien, are you with us today?
Yes, I'm here.
So happy to have you here. And is Ashley French also with us?
I think she's here.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Oh, terrific, Ashley. Good job unmuting yourself. We won't put you on the spot, but we will give you an opportunity should you choose to after Christine has a moment to speak if you have anything you want to say. So Christine, would you like to share with us what inspired you to create this portrait?
Okay, so first of all, I love the whole idea of it. I find this whole project very moving, and listening to the other artists and the sitters, I'm very moved by it. So I'm a portrait painter. I've been painting about 25 years. I'm based in New York City, and I was sort of dormant in the Connecticut Portrait Society for a while, working on other projects, but once the virus hit and the meetings moved online, I was able to participate again. So I'm really happy I was able to participate.
Because you live in Manhattan.
Yes, yes. So anyway, I had gotten Ashley French, who's the painting I did, is a good friend of mine's daughter's friend. And after I had heard what she had, what she was doing, I thought this would be a good, person to paint. And Ashley is a nurse practitioner in the cardiology unit at Weill Cornell. And she was moved to the COVID floor. And at that time, she had to quarantine from her fiance. And then she got sick with the virus, recovered, and then went back to the COVID floor. And in the meantime, she was supposed to be married. I have a feeling it might have been this weekend or last week, kind of June. And then she had to reschedule till next May. Wow. So I just think, and the other thing was, so the way we connected was, it was first through text, then we spoke on the phone, and then I asked her to send me a bunch of pictures. And so that's how I came up with this painting. And I had made a conscious decision. There was one picture without the mask over her mouth, and I just thought it would be more compelling just to see her eyes and the mask. And hopefully I got the feeling of Ashley in the painting.
Well, let me just say that, and for those who are listening and sharing here, just put your nose on your screen and look at the detail and the story that is actually being told by her eyes. It's just magnificent. Thank you so much. Ashley, are you with us? Would you like to share what this experience has been like for you?
Sure, thank you. And thank you guys for having me here. This is incredible. This is really neat. I mean, the experience has kind of been surreal. It wasn't fun. It hasn't been fun, but it has to be done. And, now I'm lucky I'm working back as a nurse practitioner in cardiology. We're able to do procedures again. So I'm lucky enough to no longer be working with COVID patients. But it's kind of hard to put into words, everything that went on. And hopefully we don't have to go back to working the way that we did, but we have to do what we have to do.
Thank you so much. We join you in that prayer, that intention that this will be behind us. And I want to thank you so much. Just a little aside, at one time I was training to be a cardiac surgeon, so I appreciate what you're doing so much. All of us do. Can we go back to the gallery? Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. Is
Bridget Grady here? Bridget, unmute yourself, please. And if Ken Chichester's available, would you unmute yourself? So, Bridget, are you here?
I am here. Ken Chichester cannot make it because
okay.
I think there's a parade for him right now.
Okay. Let's expand on this magnificent painting. Would you share with us, Bridget, before she begins? I just have to say, when we get to the students at the end of the professional members, it's this school teacher, Bridget Grady, who was inspired by this event with CISOPA, who enrolled her 5 students. So she is an amazing artist and teacher of so many, and focused in, when we did this challenge to our artists, our invitation to paint our heroes on the pandemic front lines, she chose this subject. So Bridget, would you share with us what inspired you to paint this person?
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you to you with your patience, because rounding everyone up I'm like, oh, this is what I can do for them, because a lot of these girls got into art school. One got 5 acceptances to the top art schools in the country, and with all of them with scholarship, and they're kind of sitting there going, I don't know what I'm going to do.
We're going to talk more about the students after all of these.
So Ken Chichester is our principal at our high school.
Oh, right.
And he has been there for 42 years. He's an EMT. He's done plenty of EMT work at our school. He was supposed to retire and of course he stayed on for scheduling, but then this happened. And so he's been in it from the beginning. He's uh, he went immediately to like Joann's Fabrics and bought massive amounts of cotton, muslin, and all that stuff, and directions, and delivered it to families to make masks for our workers up here at Charlotte Hungerford. He's organized the food banks for the students and families that are, really struggling because they're out of work. He has been a major person to lean on as a faculty member, but he's also like going out and visiting kids that they can't find because maybe they're really depressed because their family's a frontline worker, or they're babysitting the neighbors' kids who are frontline workers. So he's been in it, and Ken has like really been an amazing supporter of the arts. I'm lucky to be hired at my school. I have a lot of degrees, and they don't usually hire artists, and he hired an artist, and he's been super supportive that way, and he's super supportive of our program.
Well, Brit,
And
I just want to say he sparkles. Bridget, you did an amazing job on him. I think you really got the story you just shared with us in this painting. I think that's really what sets what the kind of work we all do as portrait artists apart, is that in a way, through classic techniques, we're storytellers. We're not illustrators, but in this one painting, I think everything you said, we can feel. So great job. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, and thank you for having us.
And we're gonna have you come back if you can stay when we introduce the student work. So please don't leave us if you can.
I won't.
All right. Thank you so much, Julia. Let's go back to the gallery and see if Joyce Zeller Endick is with us.
Hi. Yes, I am.
Oh, that's great. And is Genevieve and Rupel with us?
I think they are.
Okay. Would you please, all those people, unmute yourselves? Genevieve and your friends or family are welcome to also unmute yourselves. Let's start. Okay, great. Let's start with the image being enlarged. And Joyce, please share with us what inspired you to create this portrait?
Well, when you called about this show, it was very inspiring to do something like this. And I immediately thought of my friend Roberta, who has two wonderful children who are both ER people. She has a son who is an ER doctor in Boston, and her daughter Genevieve is an ER nurse in Philadelphia. So I asked Roberta if she would ask her children if they could send me some photos, since I wasn't able to get to where they were, that I could possibly do a portrait of them and honor them for the work that they do. Matthew was very busy and unable to send. And luckily, Genevieve took the time after a really hard night and sent me some photos. And she sent me different photos. She sent me some with masks. She sent me some where she was really looking very sad without a mask. And then she sent me this one. And I thought about it. I was going to do the mask, and I thought, well, everyone's doing masks. And I just thought that this was going to be like an inspiration for resilience, that things are going to get better. And if she can feel that way, and she has such a wonderful smile, and it just inspired me to do this portrait of her. So I'm very happy. I knew her as a little girl. We went to the Bronx Zoo together with my nieces, and I hadn't seen her in a while, and I was really happy to be able to do this for her.
Thank you for doing it. We can feel the story when we look at this. I'm sure I'm not alone in being inspired. And I'm so glad you chose the mask off and the smile. And we know she's not having a picnic, and yet she's shining with optimism and joy. So thank you, Joyce, for creating this. Genevieve, would you like to share what this experience has been like for you?
Sure. It's definitely been hard and difficult and weird time for nursing, just because everything has been very new and you learn new things every day and things change every day. But I love how Joyce painted me and portrayed me, because I really do believe that you have to stay positive in order to take care of people in an optimistic way. So smiling kind of underneath the mask and showing that to other people, like, definitely resonates of who I am and how I want to treat other people.
Well, we're very grateful to you, and we're delighted that this event inspired Joyce to create this portrait that I'm sure you and your family will treasure forever.
You will.
Thank you. Can we go back to the gallery, please? Thank you. I hear the children in the background. So as you come off your turn speaking, please mute yourselves again. Thank you. Wow. Wow. I'm so excited, everybody. I just have to say that. All right. Colleen Haynes, are you with us? Colleen is our membership director of the Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists. And Stephanie Garcia, are you with us?
Yep, Stephanie and I are together. So
oh my gosh, you're together. All right.
Yeah.
So that's so great, Stephanie. Colleen, would you share the story of what inspired you to create this painting? I know she's sitting right next to you, but you can pretend she isn't.
Yeah. When we thought of this idea to do this show, I thought it was really cool. And I didn't know anybody in the medical field. So I started to think, and I really wanted to participate. Stephanie is in my house every day. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, okay, she's not medical, but she's a pharmacy tech. And they're just as important too, as we talk about it, her and I, and that people need to get their medications. Yeah. So, and she gets up and she goes to work every day, not like some of us, like me, the cushy one who gets to work out of my house because, I don't have to go and be exposed to people. But she takes the risk, and she's obviously out there being exposed, even though she has her mask on and her gloves. So I love painting portraits, and I loved painting Stephanie. I did not like painting the shelves with all the bottles and everything.
That was hard.
But Janine insisted there had to be some kind of background, like the pharmacy. So I was like, I took my marching orders, and that's what I did. So
well, it tells the story beautifully, and I'm sure we all know. We go into a store, we see people. I wanted to paint someone in the fish department, in the butcher department, who were wearing their masks covered and still slicing deli meats or doing what they have to do. And here's someone who's working with the public every day in the pharmaceutical field. Of course, we're inspired and grateful. We want to ask what this was like for her.
It was definitely not an easy experience. It was definitely like, you always had to be cautious no matter what, especially like, since the pandemic started. So we had to take, extra precautions. Like we had to, put on like plastic in front of us when we're talking to patients, when we're counseling patients. It was definitely hard for it, but we always try to maintain like a positive attitude, even with everything going on around, especially because, it's important for us to, fill people's prescriptions, especially when they're on like blood pressure medication, insulin for diabetics, any like important, maintenance medication. So it's important for us to have those people get their medications, because without it, they could go into, anything can happen to them. And we, patient safety is our number one priority in my pharmacy. So we definitely, keep up a positive attitude for them.
Absolutely. And you are so essential. And thank you. Yes, because before restaurants open, before a lot of things are slowly starting to open, you guys were not, you were working all the way through. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to go back to the gallery, and I just want to see if we can everyone unmute. Let's see if we can do that. Take a little moment. Next up is Linda Champagnere. And I think
That's me.
we're a little ahead of schedule. So I want to take this opportunity to just open the conversation and unmute all participants. So let's see if we can do that. And
Hi. Hi,
hello,
Linda.
everybody.
This is Evelyn.
All right, even if we don't unmute you all, if you have something you want to share or say, let's just take a few minutes like we're in a gallery. If someone wants to get a drink, which I do, move around. We'll be back. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
I just wanted to, this is Julia Murphy. I just wanted to make the point that I'm really interested based on the artist's choices of subjects that, like, the definition of essential means so many different things. Yes, there are many people from medical fields, but frontline means anyone that really wasn't able to stay home or had to contribute to the life-saving measures that were, suddenly put into effect. And so it's something that I thought about a lot, and I think about the people who are in, retail settings or, those day-to-day, like, quote unquote, mundane jobs that are also sort of putting their lives on the line. And so, it's like kind of a big thank you to them as well. I feel that tons of people get kind of outsized appreciation at times because everyone's like, oh God, we didn't realize the way things were. But at like when it goes back to the day-to-day functions of life, everyone's still in those roles and they're still deserving of our appreciation and respect.
Yes.
Well said. I forgot I was not muted.
Well, I think that was very well put, Julia. And so many people were and are still affected by the coronavirus. People who are protecting the rest of us and people who actually, unfortunately, were infected, many of whom passed away. So it's been a horrible time. And we are very, very grateful to the people who are in every capacity helping the cause of getting us through this.
Thank you, Nancy. And we're back. Let's see if is Evelyn Atkin Dom also with us today?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, I recognize you. You're famous now.
I know.
Okay, stay unmuted.
Yes.
We're gonna come to you in a moment. We're gonna start off with the artist, one of the original founding directors of the Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists, Linda Champagnere, and we're very excited that she's with us and created this amazing portrait. Could you share with us a little bit about what inspired you to create this portrait, Linda?
Yes, thank you. I was invited to participate, and Colleen sent me a picture of Evelyn and told me the story about how she was making masks and sending them to hospitals. And I thought it was just wonderful because I know sitting home and listening to the news and hearing that protective equipment wasn't available to people was just heartbreaking. And so, as I think everyone has so articulately said, there are people who are not necessarily on the front lines medically, but are also doing what they can to participate and to be a part of this and to help out. So I saw the stacks of masks that Evelyn made, and it was very inspiring.
Thank you so much. It's a great painting, and we can feel that story from what you said
In the background.
from this portrait, and the light on the sewing machine, and the joy she apparently has in doing something that's really helping. Evelyn, could you share with us what this experience has meant to you?
Yes. Okay, so I started out, I've been working from home forever and just used to being on the phones and busy during the day. And then I have the Nextdoor app, which is just the neighborhood people. And a woman requested that we donate or start making masks for Yale New Haven. Her husband works in the ER as an administrator. So we all gathered our materials, whatever we could find sewing wise. And then we get it from her bucket in the front yard. Like if we need elastic, there was an elastic shortage. So anyway, as soon as I saw that the day before, I lost my job. So I just went right from that to making masks. I was so excited about making them and helping people because I definitely had a shortage there. And I just felt like I was compelled to do it. I couldn't help it. I just started, and then every twice a week we'd go and drop off the masks, and we'd wear whatever mask we had made that week. Of course we had it, and then the people from the emergency room front lines would come out and pick out their masks. So it was really rewarding that way too, to see how happy they were and that they really appreciated it a lot.
I just want to mention something you said struck me, where you said I didn't really think about it so much. It was automatic. It was something that propelled you to do this, and I think that's a recurring theme with the people who've inspired us, and any frontline workers who are here. I'd love to hear if you feel sometimes that the work you do is bigger than you, or something else is propelling you. Do you all have that feeling? Because that's really present in this painting and in a lot of the stories.
Yeah, I really like the painting. I can't really see. I don't know how to get the whole full screen so I can actually see it.
So just be in speaker view. Be in speaker view.
Oh, speaker view?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, snap.
Okay, but I'm asking everyone, all of the people who have already spoken, and that's fine. You don't have to respond, but there's a feeling, there's a common thread here that Evelyn touched on that we can feel in the painting, we feel in your words, that somehow, and you're all glowing in these paintings. All of us have painted, we felt your glow. There's something inside of you that propels you beyond making a conscious choice. Did you feel that, Evelyn?
Definitely. I don't know how to explain, but I just automatically, I happened to read that, and it was it just flowed for me because I love helping people anyway. So for me
fit right in.
Even though I wasn't getting paid, I haven't, in fact, I lost my job March 31st, haven't gotten unemployment yet, but I just was at the sewing machine. I just jumped on there, and I'm a jewelry artist, so I hadn't sewn in years.
Well,
it was just I got out the sewing machine and started.
You found your energy, your purpose.
Yes, it was very motivated.
Well, we're very grateful to you, and we hope things open up for you and the work flows to you as you much deserve. So God bless you and thank you. Can we go back to the gallery? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you. God bless. Okay, Wing Na Wang, are you with us? Maybe she couldn't join us today. Julia Ambrose Murphy, who's been graciously running the screen. Are you with us today?
I am. I'm right here.
All right, honey. And is Allison Rake? Did I say it correctly?
Allison, are you here?
I'm here.
How do you pronounce your name, Allison?
Reich.
Reich. And you're a Pharma D. Okay, we're going to come to you in a moment. First, we want to hear from the artist who created this this drawing. Just let me say, Julia Ambrose Murphy is one of our directors at CSOPA. She is a world-renowned sculptress. And when she was met with the challenge of creating a drawing or painting, she said, no, I want to do it. Don't ask me how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. So would you please share with us, Julia, what inspired you to create this?
Well, being a sculptor, I'm the lone sculptor in the herd, so to speak, and it's always really interesting to be among painters. But monochrome is kind of the way that I work, and so I did a black and white charcoal drawing, and I wanted it to be simple and communicate the a sort of like a moment in time with our lovely subject here. As you can see, Allison is a wonderful, warm person, and she's a beautiful lady. And so I felt a little weird putting a mask on her, but the entire kind of, point of, I guess, let me put it this way. Speaking with Allison, no matter what story, no matter how difficult the experiences she was relating, it always came back to we. Whenever she spoke about her her work, she would say we were doing this because she felt she's always putting her coworkers first. When she spoke about her family, she would always say we, she was putting her family first, and never took a second to kind of think about how it was affecting her personally before she was taking care of everyone else. And I feel that that's such a common theme with so many frontline workers, where they just don't think about themselves. They say, oh, I'm just going in, it's my job. And it's so much more than that.
And it's, well, I want to thank you for that. And it's a common theme, and it's our job as artists to be the ones to document and create works of art, original art that will last forever. And the story you just told is present. You can see she's smiling. You can't even see her mouth, but you can tell she's smiling. What's the story of what she's holding? Why don't we let her tell us?
Yes.
Thanks so much for this opportunity. Honestly, it's such an honor to be able to share my story and to be a subject for this portrait, especially a Julia Ambrose Murphy piece.
It's an original.
So the story behind what I'm holding, I'm actually holding a vial of fentanyl, and it's a super tiny vial. Those types of vials are what we use in the OR. They're not meant to make drips, but just like toilet paper, fentanyl was one of the drugs that became difficult to get our hands on. People were, the increased demand, hospitals were taking what they could get. And at one point, we couldn't get big vials. We could only get these tiny vials, and it would take sometimes 100 of those vials to make one drip for a patient. That could last anywhere from 12 hours to maybe 2 days. And I started noticing that from the repetition of making so many bags, our pharmacists were getting blistered, and they were pre-bandaging before they would go into the IV room. And I took pictures throughout this experience, and that always struck me. I said, wait, I gotta take a picture of your hands, because it just, I've never seen anything like it. IV room is the cleanest place in the hospital. It's the most sterile. You feel the safest, and they were coming out with like war wounds.
Well, these are the behind the scenes that they don't talk about in the news. The small details that keep things going, even though we instinctively all know and are grateful. This portrait, beautifully done by Julia Murphy. You can see she's a sculptress because of the sculptural quality of the drawing. But just the fact that she brought this story to all of us we're very grateful for that. And we're grateful to you, Allison. And thank you so much. God bless you.
And it is worth noting that the fentanyl is what allows people who are critically ill with COVID to go on a ventilator to save their life. And the main point that the takeaway that I would want viewers to see with this is that we kind of, as Colleen was mentioning earlier, because she also did a person in the pharmaceutical field, their work is absolutely critical. Like, so many things literally cannot happen in a hospital without the work that they do and the unbelievable amount of knowledge that they have to make sure that it's safe and effective. And yet most of it's behind the scenes. So, like, just because you don't see people out in view all the time doesn't mean that the work they're doing isn't critical. And that's why I sort of wanted to present a pharmacist in order to, highlight that and make sure that people kind of appreciate it, even though it may not be right up front and center all the time.
Well, that's why we do what we do, Julia. Thank you so much. Can we go back to the gallery?
Yeah.
And thank you, Allison. Is Ed Salazar with us today? Ed, Ed may not be with us, but this is his portrait of Yida Cooper. If you would just enlarge that.
Oh,
or
I'm actually, the link is not.
Oh, okay.
working
You know
here.
what? Let's just scroll down. I'll have to redo it. Perhaps when I moved it, I
Sure.
did something wrong.
Okay.
Let's scroll down to number 12. So Ed Salazar is one of our members who had to move out of Connecticut. If you could just scroll down to the explanation of here we are.
Oh, okay.
Yida
There we
Cooper.
go.
I just want to
There we go. Oh, I see what you mean. I'm sorry.
I just want to share the story. He has since moved to Texas, Fort Worth, and we miss Ed very much. But as others have said, I think it was Christine who said she lives in Manhattan and hasn't been active with CSOPA until this event. And Ed Salazar similarly has been very active over the years with our big symposia and juried shows and so on. But he came back to us when he heard about this because he could do an online event. And this is a friend of his in Fort Worth who's a professional nurse, and she goes to work to help COVID-19 victims. She sees firsthand how difficult it is for family members and so on. She does everything. Could we go back to the image, please?
Yes.
This woman does everything she can every single day. And I have to tell you, she is, other than looks like Wing Yi Wang, and number 10 is Oriental. Yida is of color, and I'm so glad he came. I wanted to just say we have so many people of all shades, all colors, all around the world, and because of Ed's contribution, I think he beautifully demonstrates the kind of care and giving that goes on every day from all corners of the earth, people of all origins and all cultures. And I'm just really glad that's going to be part of our online. If you just scroll down a little bit, Julia. Our in-person a storefront display. I've actually reprinted this because he's way in Texas, and many of the artists here will have their work in a store window thanks to a collaboration with the Stanford Downtown. We have a storefront at 172 Bedford Street, and many of these paintings and a poster of Yida Cooper will be there. And I'm so grateful to all of you for contributing and dropping your paintings off socially distanced and spaced out and so on. So that will be available to, if you forget where it is, just come back to our website. There's a press release about this event under that, which is also available on the gallery page in the main website. And then if you scroll way down, and all of these images you can come back to and revisit. If you scroll way down now, we're going to come to our student work. And if Bridget Grady's still with us, are you there, Bridget?
I'm going to unmute.
I am.
Yay! We need you to unmute yourself.
Yep. And I have at least Caroline here. I'm very excited about. Not sure if the other girls.
All right, Madeline said she was going to come. She explained I spelled her name wrong, so I did correct that. Madeline, are you with us? And if you are, unmute yourself. Any student who's here, please unmute yourself. Any of your heroes who are here, unmute yourselves, because this is going to be a little bit more of a flow now. And we want to see who's ready to talk. I want to begin, though, with Bridget Grady and how this happened.
Well, it happened because of your generosity and because I have some amazing young women that I work with. Just amazing. They had a lot on their plates, end of the year, maybe tough things going on at the house, and being shut down in their senior year. And they were willing to stop everything and do this. And it was a way that they could honor the people around them. And I'm really, really proud of them. So
fantastic. Let me hear if there are any, and we're so grateful, Bridget. What a brilliant and generous thing you did for these talented seniors, and CSOPA was happy to be a part of it. I also, at this moment, before we go into any details, I want to take a moment to thank all the people who pre-registered and all those who pre-registered and made donations to the Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists, because we have started an artist fund to reimburse these artists who have requested a little help at this time. All of our artists have created these portraits out of the goodness of their hearts, not taking any money, and they're going to donate each one to their heroes. So some people, you know, we can't even begin to offer what these are worth, but we can at least offer to help artists with their material costs. So all of you who made donations, and there were many of you, delightfully, thank you. Those funds have gone towards the artists and will continue to help artists through CSOPA. So thank you all. And Bridget Grady, #1 contributor for this event, bringing us these students and enrolling them for a full year membership, each one of them, into the Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists. So we hope to stay connected with each and every one. Right now I want to know, please let us know and unmute yourself if you are a student artist or a hero of a student artist.
Caroline's here.
Caroline, all right, let's
Welcome,
scroll
Caroline.
down. Let's scroll down to Caroline's.
Oh.
Here we are. Caroline Merrick. All right, let's just, that's it. That's good. Okay, Carolyn, welcome to our event. Thank you so much for participating. Could you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create this portrait?
Well, it's my mom, and she's my hero every day, even before Corona happened. And she's been having a lot on her plate lately because she's stressed. She didn't want to go to work, but the governor classified daycares as essential. And so she needs to every day. And even though she's worried about catching it from, you know, kids, and she's worried about the kids in general, you know, they have to be there for them. And so, yeah. And
let me just say, you are the only artist out of all 17 participants who included the coronavirus in the background.
Yeah.
Good job, you, Elizabeth. And is Carolyn Merrick with us today?
Oh, yeah.
Carolyn's the artist.
I mean, is Elizabeth with us? Sorry.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's okay, because we would ask her what this experience has been like for her. But you can tell us, Carolyn, what's it like for your mom to see you create this painting?
Oh, she loved it. I mean, she was really excited for me to do her.
Good.
She felt honored, and she's a big supporter of my art.
Good.
So
what are your plans? Haven't you made any?
I'm gonna go to the community college.
Great.
Brady. Yeah, I'm gonna take some of Miss Brady's classes.
Well, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, see, in art, I think many of our professional artists can attest to this. The art of classical portraiture was lost for many years as schools wouldn't teach classical techniques. Abstract expressionism took over the world.
Yeah.
So there were only pockets of learning going on, and the way we learn, most of us who are here for a while, was through finding our mentors, finding the teachers. Doesn't matter the school, whatever. Find the teacher, and when you find the teacher, that's where you learn and grow. So that's awesome. We're really proud of you and grateful you're here with us. Okay, do we have any other students here?
I think Maddie's coming, but I can't see her.
Well, that's okay. Let's go up a little bit, please, on the screen to our first student work.
That's Maddie's?
Yeah. So let's just talk about it. Well, she may come. So let's scroll down. Let's go to Chris Keegan by
Cassidy.
Cassidy. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So let's see. So let's just, I'll let you Bridget talk about the artist, the painting, and a little. I'll let you take this one because this painting is extraordinary. Could you expand the painting for us, Julia? I mean, this is by a high school senior, guys. So,
And it's
Bridget,
pastel, I think.
it is. And
Yeah.
Bridget, would you tell us a little bit about your student and anything you care to share?
Well, they're all amazing. Cassidy is, I've had her only a couple of times. Super hard worker, really creative. Not just, she does these really weird animal sculpture, weird things, right down, made with all different multimedia. But she has been taking the college drawing class. So she's like an all-rounder. And she definitely took to the classical approach. And so this is, I think, her third portrait.
Well, I want to thank you, Bridget, for carrying the banner of classical realism and all the techniques that are clearly evident here. And for those of us who are artists, we can put our noses in this and say, oh my gosh, she has dissipation of light. She's rounding her curves. She has soft and hard edges. Technically, we're admiring this and you're teaching. So good job.
Thanks.
Can we go back to the gallery while she continues, please?
Yep. And so Kim Keegan is, I have her daughter, who is also a very good artist. She's a little younger and wasn't in the college thing, who is a leukemia survivor. And Kim is a nurse, and she's had to go in the whole time. And I believe it's Hartford Hospital. She has 4 kids at home and, definitely immune compromised and the maid breadwinner. So that's kind of rough.
It's kind of rough, and she's a hero. And
Yep.
we thank you, and we thank Cassidy for immortalizing her in this magnificent painting. Can we scroll down a little bit, please? Thank you. Okay, this is Amy Koch by Clara Koch. And I don't know if Clara's with us. Are you with us, Clara?
I don't know. Caroline, did you get in touch with her? I left a message.
That's okay.
I did, but she wasn't able to make it.
No, that's okay. This is the big view of this great watercolor. Can we go back to the gallery, please? And here is the story. This is the mother of the artist. I mean, I'll give you all a moment to just take a look at this. So, these students have reached out to people in their communities and sometimes in their own homes. And I think that this artist, Clara, has really told her story here. I don't know about you guys, but I can feel the intensity of the gaze of this woman who's determined, like Dr. Peter Stahl earlier, that determination that I'm just going to do this. It's like they're almost not even looking at you. They're looking at their mission. So I think that this is a very magnificent painting. I'm really proud of these kids. Okay, let's scroll down even further. Let's see what we have at the bottom here. Okay, is Georgia Miller with us?
Did she come?
That's okay. She'll speak up. Unmute yourself if you're here. If not, that's okay. This is one of the first that came in from the students, and I was like, wait a minute, is this a student? So if we could expand on the image just for a moment. I just want everyone who's, all our artists as well as our guests, just to put your nose in here and understand how the magic this young artist created, 3-dimensional on a 2D surface. This is alive. The leaves are alive. The person is alive. And I think the artist did a really great job, and kudos to their teacher, Bridget Grady, who's here with us. Really, really good job. You're teaching clearly some techniques that that not other schools teach. So let's zoom out again and just get the idea.
I have willing participants in torture.
That's who we all are. They say birds of a feather flock together. We're united in our mission, and classical realism is our passion. Even Nancy Stember, who started out in abstract realism, decided to explore this area as well, and we're grateful she did. So let's just take a look at who this gentleman is, who inspired this young lady. So Big Kev is more commonly known as Kevin Hardwood, is the father of one of my very close friends. Typically, he's an ER nurse. He was one of the first people to take care of COVID-19 patients at Charlotte Hungerford. He has quite the family with 6 children to take care of on top of being a nurse during these troubling times. So I just want to share with you guys these stories of these heroes and these students, what they've been up to, what it's been like to be a senior. Can you imagine? We all remember our senior years. It was the greatest year of our high schools. These kids have been locked down, and we're very grateful to Bridget and all of them for participating. So I just want to zoom back out to the information about the event in the windows between students and professional artists. Just go up a little bit. There we go. This is where I recommend you guys come back. CSOPA.org. You forget everything else. CSOPA, Connecticut Society of Portrait Artists, CSOPA.org. That's where you'll find everything. And this event is going to be up soon. The actual paintings will be up. Thank you, artists, for lending them. And I'm printing out, Bridget, all the student works also for the window display downtown Stamford, and your work as well. Just let's go back to the top of this, and I want to thank everyone. Does anyone have any questions? We still have a lot of people here. We have 32 people, artists and guests. Are there any questions? Type into Colleen, unmute yourself if you have a question. This is the time to share what you feel through after we presented all of these portraits and stories.
This isn't a question, but I just, if it's okay, this is Peter Stahl
Peter.
again.
You can say anything you want, Peter. It's a reception. We're in a gallery.
That's right, with some wine. I want to say that I think you guys are all heroes. I think we need art more than ever. And we've had some very inspirational concerts and art shows sort of in the hospital that were really, really uplifting for all of us. So I want to say thank you to you guys for.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We appreciate
it.
It is, we have to say, most of these artists who are donating these portraits, their work is worth a lot. Let me just put it that way. After all their schooling and training, $100 or $200 an hour of their time is not uncommon. And each one who's here today and has participated are donating their time and these paintings to our heroes in a way because we feel the same about you, Peter. And it's our way of saying thank you. Anybody else have a comment or something they want to share? You could just unmute yourselves now.
I'm so glad you thought of Nurse Carrie there, because I think you did a really great thing, Janine.
Thank you, Bridget. She inspired this whole thing. I don't think she's still with Carrie. Are you still here?
I think she's on the beach.
Yeah, hey, she was at the beach. I mean,
No, honestly, she was going to race home to be online with us. I said, no, honey, no. Just any way you can, just, through your phone. I didn't want to take from her minuscule free time. So, yeah, she inspired this whole thing, Bridget. You can see, right?
Yep, you never know where it's going to happen and what it leads to.
That's right. Anybody else?
I'd just like to thank everybody who came and everyone who were the heroes who were painted and the artists who painted them. I think this was a great experience.
And I would like to thank everyone for bearing with us technically, as this is a brand new scenario for us. So,
Julia, you did a great job. And thank you for recording this. You'll let us know when the recording becomes available, and we'll share that with all participants.
Absolutely.
And don't, it may be a while. We're working on it. So don't expect it overnight. But when it's available, we will let you know.
Yes.
All right, everyone. I want to thank you. If there are no further questions or comments, we'll see you all at the other end of this. And I just want to take another moment to be sure other people didn't want to speak. I see Amy and Tao Labossiere. Hello.
Hello.
Who are you? Who are you?
We're friends with Julia.
Hey, guys.
The brilliant and wonderful.
World-renowned sculptor.
Yes. Well, she is.
Quite talented, yes.
And Dow himself is a wonderful artist, a muralist and
what
painter.
What kind of work do you do?
Mostly commercial mural painting, and I also do some rusty metal and reclaimed wood.
And illustration and sculpting and et cetera, et cetera.
I'm unmuting everyone because I want us all to be in the gallery feeling here.
If you do this again,
Ashley, hello.
participate.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Ashley, well, join CSOPA. That's how you do that. I'm unmuting
Thank you,
everybody.
Julia. You did a great job teching, and you took to this like a fish to water, and your charcoal drawing was great.
I want to say
Yeah,
hello
that was
to
killer.
I want to say hello to Jim Crapnet.
Crapens.
Crapens. I'm sorry. It's not Crapneck. It's Crapens. I'm sorry. Hello. Who are you? What brings you to our wonderful reception?
I'm a friend of Julia's. I've known her for a number of years, and I'm glad to see the work of the whole group. So, thank you so much for inviting us.
Apparently, I know everyone.
So this is kind of what I do at real receptions, as everyone can tell you. I walk around and get, who are you? Hello. Michael Simonetta. Hello. How are you?
Good, thank you. How is everybody?
Okay. What brings you here?
Well, I am also a friend of Julia,
Okay,
world-renowned Murphy. So, but no, I've actually I have joined and followed what you've been working on through your website.
Oh, great!
And it's great. And congratulations to everybody, and of course those of you that are the workers on here. Thank you for your help and support.
Amen. Well, I just want to conclude, and Nancy, you can join me if you have anything further you want to say. I just want to conclude by saying the reason we do this, and all of us at CSOPA, we honor people. That's the work we do. We honor people, and what better theme for a show than our frontline workers? So Carrie inspired it. Overnight we created it, and within 2 days we had a pile of artists signed on. So nothing is done alone, and this whole organization would not exist without Nancy Stember. It just wouldn't. I came fresh into this area wanting to learn portraiture. She's a veteran, and in 2002 said, yeah, let's do it. I said, would you co-chair? She goes, sure, it's a good idea. So thank you, Nancy Stember. Thank you, all artists.
Oh, thank you, Janine.
And this
thank
is
you,
why
everybody.
we do what we do. You want to just say a closing goodbye to everyone? Nancy?
Thank you all so much for your enthusiasm and encouragement. It means a lot to us, and we do appreciate everything you're doing more than you can imagine. So thank you, heroes, artists, and participants. Thank you. And Janine, you're amazing. You do put everything together. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.